What were the things you included last time you submitted a curriculum vitae? Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of the Culture Connection Conversations, where we bring you relatable stories of diversity.
Hi, I'm Filomena, based in the Netherlands.
And I am Claudia from Luxembourg.
I'm a certified intercultural trainer working with leaders and SME entrepreneurs.
And I am a professional coach working with corporate leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as their teams in tech and beyond.
You call us when, as a leader or entrepreneur, your teams are struggling, results are going down, or there's friction.
Let's get to it.
So, Claudia, the resume we sent in when we are looking for a new job. What's up with our resumes, Claudia? Tell me.
Yeah, so after many years, I was actually asked to submit a resume again because nowadays, a lot of it goes over LinkedIn and your website and things like that. And for a major corporate contract, I was asked to submit a formal resume. And it was the first one I put together since I moved back to Luxembourg. And I was actually quite taken aback because previously all my resumes that I had done on a professional resumes were done in America. And over there, it's, for instance, a big no-no to include things like birth date, gender, marital status, and nationality even, and things like that. And most of all, the picture. Okay. And
So let's start with the picture, Claudia.
yeah,
Maybe
because the thing is that there's this assumption, truly assumption, that these items can be used in a discriminatory fashion by the potential employer. And that's, for me, it was very, very striking. I remember when I first encountered it as a young person in the US, straight out of college, because I'm like, what's the deal with that? Why should that matter? Doesn't performance matter? Doesn't capability matter? Doesn't attitude matter? And so then now here in Luxembourg, it's actually not necessarily a requirement, but a very strong suggestion that you include your age, your gender, your nationality, the languages you speak. Well, that's more competence, but your age, your gender, your marital status, and so on. And a
But
picture.
is this expected for every position?
Well, I'm wondering to what extent over here it is actually discriminatory not to include it, because the idea would be, what do they have to hide that they do not provide it? Okay, so here it's not a strict formal requirement. It's not by law that you have to do this or whatever, but like literally I have seen other resumes and they all have this information. Personally, I have no issue putting it because I am who I am, and it is what it is. So I have really no issue, because frankly, if somebody's going to discriminate against me, I'd rather they discriminate against my resume than asking me in for an interview and then discriminate against me.
Yeah, because then it's a waste of time.
Right, it's a waste of time,
Yeah.
and we are not all for the same company. It's like, then it doesn't mesh, and then the job is not for me anyway. So I'm maybe a little bit more laid back than others as it comes to this. But I thought that the basic premise culturally about how we view discrimination and how much weight we put onto these first appearances, and mind you, static ones, it's just a piece of paper. I was fairly shocked by that. So that's kind of what I wanted to share today from my side. Have you had experience with this, Philomen?
Well, I haven't given it much thought until now, because, in the Netherlands, I think it's personal and it's also age related, but also maybe even industry related. I know that the younger generation adds pictures, a nice picture into the resume, including not necessarily marital status, but up until now gender. But adding your gender is a new, there's room for discussion there, right? It's a kind of a hot topic at the moment. Whereas for me, if I were to receive a resume without a picture, I would just wonder, right? And then I would try and figure out what this person looks like, not because they have to be pretty or handsome, but because you want to know. It's the first impression. On the other hand, I would also very much respect someone not adding a picture for the same reasons, saying I don't want to be discriminated because of my looks, age, gender, etc. So I have to say I changed my opinion on it. Until a number of years ago, I thought just add your picture, right? Add your gender, add your age, and etc. But honestly, I think there's room for discussion. Why not just not implement a picture and all the other elements we just discussed? Because you need to know what someone is able to do, right? And what type of personality it is. So it's irrelevant, basically, what the gender is. It should be irrelevant. Are you going to choose a male or female? I mean, let's not go there, right? You choose someone based on their qualities. So it might be a good idea for all of us, before we send in a resume, to consider, am I or am I not going to implement these elements like picture, gender, etc.? And why would I or would I not? In addition to that, in which country am I?
Right, right.
For
Because
which job am I applying? And what type of company is it? Is it like a modern internet-based company? Or is it like into the traditional line of business? And is this maybe a whole different scenario? And am I going to adjust? I think there's room for change.
right, right. I mean, some countries actually, the resume, like the personal resume, is form-based. That
Yeah.
everybody's resume is just this form that you fill out, and there's always a place for picture and these personal information. So you have to adapt to the country that you're in, and like you said, the industry. And the for me, when I hire somebody, because I sometimes hire freelancers to help me in my business, it doesn't matter at all. Age, appearance, gender, it doesn't matter, because I'm looking for somebody who can do a job and do it well and build rapport with me. Because I only hire after, let's say, a Zoom meeting. A lot of these people are not local to me, because we have to be able to figure out if philosophically, if on a human relational level, we click. And so, I know that I can, for my own self, not, make conclusions towards that by using a picture. And so I think that we should be careful also when we hire somebody and we are the resume reviewer, that we are not necessarily succumbing only to our own personal preferences, because and not discriminate against certain people just because we do not like the particular look of one person, because that's we're not necessarily, unless we're in the modeling industry, thank you, we're not necessarily hiring for the looks. We're hiring to get a job done, and for the ability of the person to work in a team, to collaborate potentially, and so on.
I
So
think it's maybe a two-way street, Claudia, because when you send in a resume, it might be a good idea to just have the resume and add a short clip, right? And you record who you are, so they can tell right away. It's a whole different way of thinking, right? On the other hand, like you said, when you are hiring and looking at resumes, we need out of the box thinking and not, again, them and us culturally related, right? It's us and not necessarily how we do it and how you do it, right? So turning it into us and reconsidering, am I judging because of my own values, or is this irrelevant? And maybe the best thing we can do, Claudia, is like, for example, when we are going to hire someone, you team up. It's not only me doing the interview, it's the two of us. Because, you know, on your own, you make different decisions than with two. That might be the...
I was on a number of resume review committees as we were hiring new people when I was in the US in corporate. And there it was always that, you know, the resumes got reviewed by a group of people, and ultimately the discussion was a collective one, which I think is a very nice way of getting past some personal biases. However, you know, we all are imbued with the culture that we live in. So I think the next step would be not only to transcend the personal biases and preferences, but also the cultural ones, and to be a little bit more open on a wider scale. Does that
Sounds
sound
like a great conclusion, Claudia.
Okay, great. Everybody, thank you so much for watching another one of our episodes. I hope you did find it valuable. If you want to show us some love, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment or otherwise engage with our content. You can always get in touch with Philomene or myself. Our contact information is included in the description of this video. And we will be back with much, much more in the near future. Thank you. Bye bye.
Wow.